and I love cymbals. But whatever brand I play, it's usually so difficult to find the models that sound like my musical voice. Now that process has gotten a lot more fun for me with this brand, and they're new to me, but they're from the old world. Cymbals have been made in Turkey for hundreds and hundreds of years, and it's still a prominent industry there today. And what's more Turkish than a brand called Turkish Cymbals? Turkish Cymbals is a brand that takes pride in the history of Turkish cymbal making, but they don't rest on the sounds of the past. They're pushing this hundreds-year-old process forward into the future. By getting creative and experimenting in their workshop, they've come out with some of the most interesting cymbals I've heard in a really long time. We're going to talk about a couple of my favorite sets of these cymbals that go across many of the lines that they make, and some one-of-a-kind stuff too. First, let's take a look at a couple of my favorite sets of these cymbals here. My hats for the first set we're going to listen to are the 15-inch Millennium hats. The Millennium series is kind of one of their big flagship models, and there's really nothing else that sounds like it. These Millennium cymbals sort of combine old-world hand hammering, thin cymbals, a flatter bell profile, but it still has this sense of modernity from the cymbal. It sounds like a modern cymbal. When combined into a set of hats, it sounds something like a lot of the modern stuff that we're seeing coming out of the biggest brands in the United States, but there's this character to it that I can't really find in any other line of cymbal. Up in the crash position, I've got a 20-inch Meta crash, and the Meta series is basically an inexpensive way to get into B20 cymbals. Now, what the heck is B20? There's all these different alloys of cymbals, right? You got like B8s, think about the Sabian B8 line. It's a nice beginner cymbal, and then you kind of, the higher the number of the B after the B, the better the cymbal is, up to about B20. There are a few people experimenting beyond B20, but B20 is really the industry standard for a professional level cymbal. And these Meta cymbals sound awesome. These cymbals are nice and thin, again with that flatter bell profile, and because of the way that they're made, they don't sound like a budget cymbal. They sound just as good as a cymbal that you'd pay a lot more money for. The ride over here from the first set is a 22-inch Millennium ride, which is one of my favorites from Turkish. Here's the 20-inch model that we're going to take a look at later, but the 22 is one of those sizes where I feel like you can get away with anything. A good 22-inch ride should be able, in my book, to crash, have a nice ping sound, have a nice bell sound. It should do everything. And the 22-inch Millennium ride literally does everything. And then the last cymbal we're going to hear in this set on my right is a 24-inch prototype. 101, baby! This thing is super, super thin, super, super patinaed out, and it has this wonderful, big, bellowing, thundery crash sound to it. It is just immense. You gotta hear this stuff. And these cymbals don't just sound good by themselves. Listen to them with some music. regardless of whatever line you're buying from this company, they all seem to just play really well with each other in a set. You can have a really, really dry cymbal over here, a really, really modern cymbal over here, and a really, their budget line over here, and all of it is going to play well. I love that about this. And this first set isn't the only thing that's great from the company. We got to check out this second set too. We're looking at a completely different set of cymbals, and these are the big boys. I mean, look at this. You'd think this is a crash cymbal. This is the top hi-hat. We got another set of prototypes here, 17-inch, and I think they're based on the Classic series, which is a really wonderful line that Turkish does. Really, really thin, paper thin, top and bottom, and they do that Steve Jordan thing. It's just big, washy, sloshy, but it doesn't get in the way of the song. It's really, really nice if you're doing some work in the studio. We got the 20-inch Millennium right over here as the main crash. And again, there's something about the way that they weight these cymbals, that they determine the weights, that creates a cymbal that's called a ride, but I could put it right over here and use it as my crash all day long. On my far right, I have the 18-inch Millennium crash, but then I have a real special cymbal right here. Just like those 17-inch hi-hats, this is in the same vein, similar patina, similar lathing style, but it's a big, thin 24-inch ride. This thing sounds crazy. Just listen to this stuff. These aren't the sounds you're going to find at Guitar Center. There's a lot of knowledge, a lot of joy, and a lot of creativity that goes into making every one of these cymbals. And I love that about this brand, Turkish Cymbals. A lot of American folks may not have heard about this stuff, but you have now. You got to go find some of these things and give them a smack. Whether you're playing jazz, indie, death metal, or anything in between, Turkish Cymbals has a set that you can put together that is going to sound like you and pull off that music that you're trying to perform. Find a local dealer. Try some out today. Find other videos on YouTube. Listen to this stuff. And if you want to check out some more drum gear goodness right now, click on this video.